Hi, and welcome to a new episode of Random Thoughts and Views with Jan. In today's episode, I'm going to take a brief look at Hollywood actors Ashton Kutcher, his wife Mila Kunis, and the death of their careers and reputations. Ashton and Mila are both facing backlash after letters they wrote supporting their former co-star and friend, Danny Masterson, went on public record during the sentencing phase of his trial. In May 2023, Masterson was convicted of 2 counts of forcible rape for separate assaults on 2 women in 2001 and 2003. Masterson was later sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. Prior to Masterson being sentenced to 30 years to life in prison, several of his friends and former castmates wrote letters to the judge that they hoped would affect sentencing. The letters were first published by legal affairs reporter Mila Kunis. In them, Kutcher refers to Masterson as a role model and extraordinarily honest, adding, "He is among few people that I would trust to be alone with my son and daughter, whom he shares with Kunis." He also added that Masterson always treated people with decency. Kunis wrote, "I'm writing this character letter on behalf of my dear friend, Danny Masterson, with whom I have had the privilege of sharing a significant part of my life. My name is Mila Kunis, and I am an actress, and I believe it is essential to share the remarkable influence Danny has had on my life and the lives of others. Throughout our time together, Danny has proven to be an amazing friend, confidant, and above all, an outstanding older brother figure to me. His caring nature and ability to offer guidance have been instrumental in my growth, both personally and professionally. In conclusion, I wholeheartedly vouch for Danny Masterson's exceptional character and the tremendous positive influence he has had on me and the people around him. His dedication to leading a drug-free life and the genuine care he extends to others makes him an outstanding role model and friend. Please feel free to reach out if you require any further information or clarification." As soon as those support letters hit the public domain, soon came the backlash, and then came the apology video.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years so that the judge could take that into full consideration relative to the sentencing.
The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling.
They were intended for the judge to read and not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that. And we're sorry if that has taken place.
Our heart goes out to every single person who's ever been a victim of sexual assault, sexual abuse, or rape.
So for those who don't know, Danny, Mila and Ashton, they have known each other for years. They all starred in the hit comedy series That 70s Show. When they were Mila, I didn't even realize that Mila was that young when she was in that 70s show. She was 14, looked older. And Ashton and Danny, I think Ashton was probably in his late teens and Danny early 20s. So they've been in the industry for years. They've been friends for years. They remained friends, had families, still hung out together, still incredibly close. But the thing is, I mean, even when Danny's family contacted them for like a supporting letter, they should have said no. I know that's their friend, but this man had been found guilty of rape. And on top of that, Ashton was the co-founder of a charity called Thorn that he co-founded with his then wife Demi Moore back in 2009, and it's a charity that advocates for victims of sexual abuse. But then you go and write a letter begging for leniency for a rapist. They should have just stepped back. They should never have written that letter. But I actually think they didn't realize that the letter was going to be made public. They thought that that letter was just going to go to the judge. They were going to read it and that would be it. And even if the letter was read out in court, there wouldn't be names attached to it. They got that wrong. Ashton and Mila, who have been popular faces on the Hollywood scene for years, are now professionally finished. Yesterday, September 15th, the BBC reported that Ashton had resigned from the charity he set up to tackle child sexual abuse, following outrage over the letter of support. In a resignation letter directed to the board of Thorn and posted online, Kutcher said his decision to step down from the board is rooted in the recognition of recent events. After my wife and I spent several days of listening, personal reflection, learning, and conversations with survivors and the employees and leadership at Thorn, I have determined the responsible thing for me to do is to resign as chairman of the board, effective immediately. I cannot allow my error in judgment, that's an understatement, to distract from our efforts and the children we serve, he added. In his resignation message, Kutcher said his letter of support for Masterson, in which he described him as someone who treated people with decency and generosity, was yet another painful instance of questioning victims who are brave enough to share their experiences. This is precisely what we have all worked to reverse over the last decade, he added. Not long after Mila and Ashton posted their apology video, fellow actor Christina Ricci posted this message on her Instagram page. So sometimes people we have loved and admired do horrible things. They might not do these things to us, and we only know who they were to us, but that doesn't mean they didn't do the horrible things and to discredit the abused in a crime. People we know as awesome guys can be predators and abusers. It's tough to accept, but we have to. If we say we support victims, women, children, men, boys, then we must be able to take this stance. I couldn't have said it better myself. That concludes today's episode. But for more news, views, and thoughts, follow me on Instagram, Mad News UK, Twitter, Mad News UK, and madnewsuk.com.